Hey everyone, the deck that I have for you guys today is Blissey EX. This deck has slowly been rising in popularity lately and has a crazy 56% win rate as of recording this for online matches. I personally love this deck and have been playing it a ton myself, and it's one of the decks that actually got me up to Arceus. It has a good matchup spread, with the only really bad matchups in terms of meta are the one-shot decks, Goldango and Raging Bolt. Now then, as for the way that this deck works, it all revolves around Blissey EX. 300 HP Stage 1 Pokemon that has two really powerful things going for it. It has 180 damage attack called Return, which draws you up to 6 cards, just like Garchomp's first attack. And then it has the ability Happy Switch, which is key to this deck. It allows you to be able to move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another. To follow up with this, we have the Munkidoris, which have the Adrenabrain ability that allows you to move up to 30 damage off of a single Pokemon each turn and throw it onto one of your opponent's Pokemon. So we combo that together with the Blissey. Since it has 300 HP, it's very unlikely to get one shot, so we constantly can use the Munkidoris to be able to move the damage. And using the Happy Switch ability, we're able to move a single energy in between multiple Munkidoris, so we don't have to be as restricted on our energy. Our second best attacker, though, is our Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. It has the Cornerstone stance, which protects it from all damage of attacks done from ability Pokemon, so it's really good as just a secondary attacker. We also have one copy of Roaring Moon in here just to deal with any huge problematic Pokemon and be our last little bit that we need to go for game. As for trainers, our ace spec is the Precious Trolley, and we are running 4 copies of Arven to find it. It's by far the best ace spec in the deck, being able to get most of our Munkidoris and more copies of Blissey down, so that way then we can guarantee that we can get at least one Blissey running at all times. We also have 3 copies of Crispin, which is huge at letting us be able to get a turn 2 attack for us, so we can start going and swinging and getting those card draws and start that damage that we need. We also have 2 copies of EXP Share, which is very big in this deck. You always want to set it on a second Chansey or a second Blissey, because it's going to be real hard for them to get rid of 2 Blisseys at the same time, so you're always going to be able to have at least a energy going around so you can try to keep your attackers going. Along with that, we have 2 copies of Night Stretcher, just in case. We have 3 Boss's Orders, so we can go for game a little bit easier. And we have 1 copy of Switch, which comes in clutch more often than not, seeing as our Blissey has a whopping 4 retreat cost. So that Switch is huge in matchups where they play a lot of counter catchers. As for the energy spread, we are running 6 Dark, 1 Psychic, and 2 Fighting. We do it this way because even though we don't need a Psychic, it's just a little extra energy that we can use on our Munkidori if we want to attack with it for game, or to be able to try to lock our opponent and stun them for a turn. But primarily we need the fighting energy primarily for the Cornerstone, and we need the dark energy as our main energy. Overall, I love this deck. I hope that you guys enjoy playing it if you guys decide to. And as always, please leave a like and subscribe for more. I post every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I do have 3 games for you guys today, and all 3 will be against meta decks, so I can show you exactly how to play this deck into each of them. So without further ado, on to game number 1. Alright, so game number 1, we see them open up with a Maractus and a Snovert. So here, at first I'm thinking, oh no, this must be that single prize, Frostlast Munkidori deck, which we're still pretty favored into as well. They start off with a Iono after attaching a single grass to their Maractus. But either way, we're pretty favored into Marnie's Grimmsnarl and the Frostlast Munkidori deck. Here, the hand that they gave us is actually really good. We don't need that Cornerstone, but we currently have double Blissey. We got an Arven, so we can get the Precious Trolley, or we could just grab this Ultra Ball. So I was thinking about both, but I'm just going to go Ultra Ball plus Turbo Energy in setup, so next turn I'm guaranteed to start swinging. And this turn I'm able to get a Blissey set up and ready. So here we go the Blissey, we put down the Turbo Energy, we put down the EXP share. So we are completely set up at this point. This is exactly what we want to go. We kept the Earthen Vessel in hand. We didn't use it because we could have manually attached still this turn as well. But I would rather keep the Earthen Vessel as something that I can draw into or search out with a Arven later if need be, if they Iono us again. So that way then we have one more way of being able to find an energy for next turn. Along with that, we also have a Iono ourselves, so depending on what we get, our Iono looks 10 times better. And it's less cards that we have to worry that we don't really want in the matchup being put back. Here, they Arven, they do get the Secret Box, so they get their A-Spec. And then this is when we start seeing that, okay, so it is Grimmsnarl, because they just got rid of their Stage 1 for the Grimmsnarl line. So now I'm thinking exactly how am I wanting to plan out everything to get rid of this, because this is kind of a very technical matchup. They're hitting for 180 just like we are, but they're putting 30 more damage down. Their game plan revolves around Frostlass especially, so we have to make sure that we are playing around those cards to be able to guarantee that we have ways of preventing them from getting 2 prizes back to back to back to back. We also know that they're playing counter catchers and stuff like that because that's what most of the Grimmsnarl lines are running. So we have to be careful as to what cards we get rid of and how many prizers we have on the field. So they did TM Evo, so they're going to be able to put down a Grimmsnarl next turn. This turn though, I did top deck the Pokégear. So I was hoping to find a boss off of that, because if we found a boss, we could get rid of their Grimmsnarl line and make it that much harder for them to stay in the game. But instead, we found a Crispin. So here, I'm just going to Earthen Vessel. I'm going to get Double Dark, and I'm just going to attach 1. I don't mind putting another Dark Energy on the bottom of my deck. So that's the reason why I still searched out the second one. And then here we get into 2 more of our Munkidoris, which is perfectly fine by me. We also have the Ultra Ball. So what I could do here is I could get rid of the Cornerstone because we don't want that anymore. We also get rid of the Iono, get the Blissey, and now we can put down that other Munkidori, put down the Blissey, and we have a really nice combo going here. So the Happy Switch ability for Blissey is not once per turn for all, like, in total. It's actually per copy of Blissey EX. So that means that with 1 Dark Energy and 2 Blissey EX, we can constantly move the Dark Energy between all 3 of them and not have to worry about having to get more manual attaches or find more Crispins for it. So here we do knock out their Maractus. It puts damage on our Blissey, but even with the damage that's on our Blissey and the Frostlass damage for the next 2 turns, it's not going to be enough to knock out our Blissey EX before we can remove it with the Munkidoris. So here they get down the Munkidoris themselves, and they also attached a Dark to one of them, so they're going to be able to move 30 damage off of what's going to be their Grimmsnarl to most likely one of the Munkidoris to make it a lot weaker. So they could potentially knock out one of the Munkidoris this turn, depending on what they use. But I also am trying to set up to be able to KO this Grimmsnarl no matter what. But instead, they start throwing the damage onto our Blissey real quick, and then they just counter catcher up one of the Munkidoris. So here they are going to get a prize. So now we're back to being 5 prizes apiece. So we're back to being even. They put 30 damage on the other Blissey, which I understand that, you know, they kind of want to try to move the damage around in different ways to make it harder for my Munkidoris. We do top deck the Night Stretcher, which is huge, so we were able to get another Munkidori back. Here, I'm going to check with the gym real quick, just see how many energies I have left and see exactly what trainers I have left. So I'm just going to Crispin now. I'm just going to get that single dark. I want to try to leave other energy in there in case I need them for later. And then this just allows me to start moving damage. So here, I'm moving damage to be put onto their Grimmsnarl, specifically to guarantee that even if they find a way to get rid of this Blissey, my other Blissey will still be able to knock it out. So that's the reason why I move so much damage like this onto their Grimmsnarl, because I want to put it down into that range to where even if they use both of their Munkidoris to remove 60 damage, and even if they were to get a third Munkidori down, they wouldn't be able to get enough damage off of it to stop me from being able to KO it next turn. So here they throw down a Impidimp, so they're setting up for a second Grimmsnarl. As for us, our game plan is pretty straightforward at this point. So now that they're moving damage around, we see, okay, so they're trying to take out one of the Munkidoris again this turn because they realize that, hey, that's going to be our win condition. They do have a boss, so they're going to be able to take out 2 of our Munkidoris. But that's not as bad as you would think right now because we still know that we have another Night Stretcher in our deck. And we have these Ultra Balls. So since they didn't Iono, we can easily get rid of one of Arven plus the other Ultra Ball to be able to get the Munkidori that's still left in our deck and use this Night Stretcher, which we just top decked again. So here we check with the Spike Mouth. I just want to see and make sure that I had that extra Munkidori in there. So that's the reason why I did that. Here we are going to play down that Munkidori, and now we're going to be able to Night Stretcher back another one. And then here, we're only going to be able to move the Dark Energy twice. So we're only going to get 2 activations of Monkey, but that's still more than enough. So we're going to start throwing it on that other Munkidori right now. So here, we're just doing exactly that. We're taking it off of the highest damage Blissey as well. We're trying to make it so they can't just take 2 prizes whenever they want. We're also going to just grab this EXP share, and then we're going to grab a Pokégear. We do need to worry about the fact that they could use a counter catcher to try to lock up our Blissey, but at the same time, since we have 2 Blisseys, we can easily just move energy from one to the other and be able to still attack. So there, we did get the 2 prizes, and they have one Munkidori that's like close to half health, and then the other one is close to just being knocked out. So they're going to have to move damage off of the one that's close to being knocked out, otherwise it just gets KO'd on the passing of their turn. So here, our main path of winning is using like a boss. We're going to try to aim down one of their Munkidoris, be able to KO it with Blissey. So they do have the Iono, but we find our 3rd boss, so we still have the way of winning and putting them down to us only needing 1 prize, and they have no way of really doing anything. So now we're into game 2. This is against Raging Bolt, so this is one of our worst matchups. This is incredibly difficult for us because we are a 2-prizer style deck, and we rely heavily on the fact that we have a 300 HP Pokemon to try to soak up damage and then move it around with the Munkidori. Raging Bolt just says, how about I discard a bunch of energy and one-shot your Blissey. So here we do get the Precious Trolley, we do find the Turbo Energize. Most of the time, if you're going second, that's what you're really wanting to get, is you're wanting to start with an Arven and an Energy. That way then you can get the Precious Trolley, get the Turbo Energize. That gets everything started and you don't have to worry about anything. So here we do have the energy. We do attach the energize, and we can get that all started. It is bad that we started with Cornerstone, because Cornerstone is good against their Ogerpons, but other than their Ogerpons, like their main way of attacking with the Raging Bolts, it's just a liability on the field. So here, our hand isn't looking that good. We do have the Ultra Ball, so we can easily be able to get a Blissey, but it's still just not looking that good. And they're going to be able to get a knockout this turn. They already have 3 energy on the field, so we also only can do up to 180 damage at once, so we can't one-shot their Raging Bolts at all. And the fact that they are playing the Noctowl version means that they're able to constantly search out whatever cards they need as long as they're trainers. So we top deck a Night Stretcher, so we're just going to discard that plus one of the Pokégears, get out this Blissey, and we're going to be able to at least start swinging this turn, but it's still just not looking good at all for us. So here we throw down the energy. We have to swap one of the energy off of the monkeys so we can start swinging, and then we just hit for 180. We get to at least draw 5 cards, so we do find a second Blissey EX, but we are in a real bad spot here. The Crispin helps, so we'll be able to attack again next turn if they knock out this Blissey, but they have everything that they need to knock out the Blissey. I mean, they had the Sadas right there, so they were able to get an extra 3 cards to look at. They were able to get another energy on the field. They got their Earthen Vessel off of the Owl. So they're definitely knocking out this Blissey this turn. And I'm going to have to rely on them not being able to have enough power to knock out a second Blissey back to back. So here they're just doing a bunch of card draw, getting a lot of energy on the field. They also had the Area 0, so now they have 3 of the Ogerpon, so now they can get 210 damage for free every turn, depending on like if they can get the energy back from the grave, which most of them are running the superior energy retrieval anyway to get 4 energy back. We do top deck a boss, but again, the most that we can hit for is 180, so it's not like we can even one-shot anything on their board aside from the single prizers. So here we just bench another Chansey, and then we're just going to attack, do 180 to it. We do get at least 2 prizes there because they just used the same Raging Bolt that already had damage on it. Our hand is not looking too great right now either. We don't really need an EXP share anymore because if this Blissey ever gets knocked out, then they just win the game. So the 2 bosses is okay. There is a world where we could boss up their Fez and hope that they just don't have energy to be able to attach to it. But at the same time, they're also making it really hard for us to do that, because the other option is like bossing up a Raging Bolt that they had back there, but they attached an energy for turn there instead of attacking. So here we just use the Pokestore. We're trying to thin out our deck a little bit. Our only way of one-shotting something is through that Roaring Moon, but it's really not a good option here. Because if we ever bench it, then all they gotta do is they just gotta find a boss, and then they boss up the Roaring Moon, and they're able to knock it out with a Ogerpon for free. So here we do have the bosses. I'm thinking about playing it just to bring up the Fez to try to put damage on it. So that's exactly what I do. So again, I'm just trying to force them to have to use more energy out of their hand, so there's less of a chance of them being able to one-shot me. So here they just find another tool real quick. They have the switch, so this is game over here. They have the Iono, they go down to 2 cards, so they have to find a way to get energy, and look at that, they find the energy retrieval. So I just concede. So for game number 3, we start off seeing a Shaman, and then we see a Munkidori. So my first thought into this is like, oh no, we're playing against either Frostlast Munkidori again, or we're playing into the Grimmsnarl again. But you'll be surprised at what you see they bench next. So here we're just going to get the Precious Trolley and get the Turbo Energize. Again, it's the 1-2 punch. It's what you always want to get off of your first Arven. It gets you the entire bench. Generally, you're going to want to get at least 2 Chanseys and then 2 Munkidoris at minimum. And then depending on the matchup, sometimes you may get the Cornerstone. Otherwise, you just get a 3rd Munkidori. So here we put on the Turbo Energize. We attach one of the Dark Energy. This is going to allow us to be able to put 2 more Dark Energy onto the field. We put them onto the Munkidori always. You never want to put them onto the Chanseys because you can always find a Blissey and then start being able to move them around. But if you can't and you have a higher HP Pokemon in active, you want to try to make sure that you have a way of moving damage around as soon as possible. So that's why you always put it on the monkeys. So here, they did bench the Badoo and then they put it into the active, and then they put down the Fez. They use the Earthen Vessel, they get Psychic Energy. So now you can pretty much tell that, hey, this isn't Grimmsnarl, this isn't Frostlast Munkidori, this is Gardevoir. So this is one of the bigger decks of the format as well. So the videos that I had for you guys today is literally 3 of the big meta decks that you're going to be seeing if you go out to a tournament. I wanted to show that this deck does have a way of winning and a chance into most, and then show like what one of the hardest matchups is, which is that Raging Bolt. So here we just move the damage or move the energy around because we want to get this early knockout. Usually against Gardevoir, in most decks, you don't want to get a early knockout until you've gotten a lot of things set up, but we wanted to get rid of that Badoo. A lot of our cards are trainer cards that we really need to use and utilize to be able to do the things that we need to. So getting the Badoo off the field sooner rather than later is ideal. They also have to find a way to get rid of 230 HP, which they bench a Clefairy, and then they already have the Munkidori here. So they're definitely going to be able to knock out this Roaring Moon this turn because they're going to be able to put energy using the Gardevoir EX onto the Munkidori real quick, retreat it into the Clefairy, then throw the Clefairy up, put 2 energy on that. It takes 40 damage. They move some damage from the Clefairy using both of the Munkidoris, and then move the rest of the damage from the other Munkidori that already retreated, and they'll have more than enough because they only need they need 10 damage to be able to knock out the Roaring Moon. So here, they're just putting it all onto the Roaring Moon, just trying to eliminate as much damage on the field as they can as well. And then they take their first 2 prizes. So here we're just going to throw out the Blissey. The good thing in this matchup is that Blissey itself is just incredibly difficult for them to get rid of. Usually they'll have only like 2 Munkidoris down at a time, so they're only ever able to move around like 60 damage counters. And that makes it super easy for us because the most damage that they can do usually isn't enough along with the 60 to knock out, because they'd have to do 240 and the Clefairy only does 220. So here we did use the Crispin, that way then we can start getting this energy down. The reason why we didn't get any more dark energy is because I wanted to leave a dark in there. And then here, I'm thinking about bossing. So I decide, no, let's just turbo energize. Let's get this dark energy down and I can wait a turn. So here they put the Bravery Charm on the Clefairy and then they Iono us. So the hand that they gave us isn't terrible. We can use Pokégear to find other things, but the Arven is the big thing here, along with the Ultra Ball, because we can Arven get the tool that we don't need, and then also get like the counter catcher in order to bring up the Clefairy and move this 60 damage. The only dangerous thing here is the fact that they had attacked with a Munkidori and confused our Blissey. So that kind of makes it a 50-50 on whether or not we're going to actually do damage this turn to our opponent, or if we're going to take damage ourselves from attacking. But in the board state currently, we need to do this risky play. We do have like a secondary option where we would just knock out the Munkidori, and what we could do is we could Arven, get the switch, and then use the switch, but that means that we're out of the switch card for the rest of the game. And I don't really want to be down that road because we do have a 4 retreat cost Pokemon on the field. So here we're just going to start by moving this damage over to the Clefairy, because if we do swing, we're going to swing into the Clefairy. We need to try to make sure that we can be ahead in this prize race, because at some point, if we're not ahead and we're not just constantly taking prize every single turn, they're just going to snowball into a lead that we can't deal with. That's how most of the Guardy matchup usually goes into most decks, and we are no different when it comes to that. So here we did land the coin flip, which is huge. So we got to get rid of this Clefairy, which means we take 2 prizes and we're down to 3 prizes remaining. That also removed a ton of damage counters on the board, so now they have to attach more energy if they want to actually swing and everything. So here they did hit us with another Iono, putting us down to just 3 cards in hand, but we have a Iono and a Pokégear in our hand, so it's not terrible. We can always just use this Pokégear if need be. We can find the Arven and then get the switch now that we're in the lead. But for the most part, it's not looking that bad. I will say I keep thinking about moving the number of switches in my deck up by 1, because it's like there's times in some matchups where you really want 2 switches, and then there's times where you only ever need 1 or you don't need any at all. So here they counter catcher up the Munkidori that has a energy on it, which is smart by them, because if they want, they can knock this one out, which it looks like they're going to do. And once they knock this out, then that removes 1 dark energy on my field. So the only energy that I have left... Oh, no, wait, no, it doesn't knock the energy out because I have the EXP share. So I'm still going to have the energy, but they do at least get rid of one of the monkeys. So they did help us a lot, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, they helped us a lot because by using their counter catcher, our Blissey is no longer confused. So we don't have to do a 50-50 anymore, and we don't need to find the switch. So this is perfect. Yeah, they're down to 3 prize cards remaining as well, and they do have the Gardevoir, but we top deck the boss, which is huge, because now I have to think, so like, do I want to go after one of the Munkidoris? Do I want to go after the Drifloon? Those are the 2 targets that are in my sights. Swinging into this Gardevoir is going to do nothing. They'll be able to heal 60 damage from it and retreat it. There's just no reason to do it. So we're going to use the boss. I'm going to go after the Drifloon here, because that's going to be their best attacker into our Blissey. So we want to get rid of it now. This way they have to have recursion from the discard in order to bring it back, and then they still need to find a bravery charm in order to be able to get it up to a high enough damage or number to be able to deal decent damage. So the cards that we got off the top of our deck and the card that we got from the prize card, they're not terrible. The Crispin is pretty good. So here they counter catchered up another Munkidori, but they're just going to bring the Screamtail up, and they're going to most likely get rid of the Munkidori that's on my bench and try to lock me with the Munkidori on the field, thinking that, like, okay, well, they most likely don't have enough energy to get it out without having to use energy on field. So one of our big upsides, again, is this Blissey EX in this matchup, because it just stops them from being able to lock us with these, like, Munkidoris and stuff. Here, we do find the switch. I debate about using it for a second, but I'm like, no, I want to keep it just in case. So here, we're just going to use the Crispin. We're going to get both energy out real quick. Just attach the Psychic there. Or attach the Fighting to the Monkey, and then attach the Psychic to the other Blissey, guaranteeing that we have a way of attacking next turn no matter what. And then we just take the prize. So here they bring up the Gardevoir again. They do boss up this Monkey, and they could theoretically find a Night Stretcher, get up another Screamtail, and then try to lock me again, but that's just not going to work. So they have to find a way of locking me and dealing damage to these Blisseys, because they need to get rid of at least one Blissey, because I'm not benching any more Pokemon. They know that they're going to have to deal with these Blisseys, or at least a Blissey, if they want to win the game. There's nothing that they can do about it. They have to go through at least one Blissey. Meanwhile, all we have to do is just knock out one of their single prizers, and we win. So luckily we have 2 Pokégear in our hand, so that's exactly what we're going to do next turn, is we're going to be looking for a boss. We know that there's, I think, 2 more bosses left in my deck. At least 1, but I'm pretty sure that there's 2. Because they Iono'd us earlier and we put 2 down on the bottom. Here, we just top deck the boss. So we still had the Pokégear. It didn't matter. We were going to look, I think, 14 cards deep in a 19 card deck still. But those are the games that I have for you. Blissey EX is a ton of fun. I highly recommend that you guys try it. This is the deck list if you want to see it like this. And as always, please subscribe. I do post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. So without further ado, have a good day.